Well, good afternoon. This is Bill Maharis coming to you live from Pressbox Overtime. I am so excited that my first interview for this new fall season, as Pressbox starts to ramp it up a little bit, is with four individuals that play professional softball right here in Vieira, Florida, for USSSA Pride. And I just couldn't think of a better way to reach out to some professional athletes that are right here in our community. I'm blessed. They have a game tonight. It's the last week of the season. I'm blessed that they decided to spend a few minutes with me this morning talking about themselves and a little bit about professional softball. I have Haley Cruz, Shelby Penley, Jalen Ford, and Ali Aguilar, as well as Penny Four. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see her or not. Little technical things working, but she can hear us. She's the director of operations for USSSA Pride. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the young ladies on and learn a little bit more about professional softball. That's Haley Cruz. Welcome, Haley. And Penny might not be able to see Penny, but she can hear us. And Shelby Penley. I'm going to go down here to Haley Cruz and Jalen Ford. So thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I know you got a game tonight. I appreciate your time. So let me start with Haley. Tell me a little bit about where you went to high school, college, and I think you said you're in your second year, and how long you've been playing professional softball.
I grew up in San Diego, California, and I went to high school at Del Norte High School. College career at the University of Oregon. I played 5 years there because of the pandemic. I got an extra year of eligibility, so I was able to complete my master's there. I won Women's College World Series 2 times in my career at Oregon, and I finished an All-American. And yeah, this is my second year playing with the Pride, so it's been an amazing experience so far.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Shelby, I know you've played, I think, longer than anybody that I'm speaking to today. So tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I grew up in New Mexico. I went to school. I played my college career at the University of Oklahoma. We won a national 13. I graduated in 2015 and got drafted to the. It was pretty cool. Me and Lauren Chamberlain went the number 1 pick, 2 picks, so that was a fun experience. And this is my 8th season with the Pride. I like my 8th season. It's just kind of flown by pretty quick, but I think this long for the Pride.
You know, one of the questions I was going to ask you as I was doing a little research this morning, I saw you were drafted second, and I was going to ask you if you remembered who was drafted first, but then when I saw who it was, I'm like, yeah, I think she remembers who was drafted first.
Lauren Chamberlain.
Being a teammate. So did I see, it looked like I saw she was drafted by the Pride, but then did she get traded?
She just retired.
Okay, all right. So she did play that first year with you?
Played 3 seasons with the Pride, maybe 4, and then retired.
Okay, awesome. All right, great. And Ali, I'll go to you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how long you've been playing professional softball.
Yeah, I grew up in Sacramento, California, so Northern California. And then I went to the University of Washington in Seattle, graduated in 2017. And then from about 2016 to 2021, I've been a part of the national team. And then and then right out of college, I also played 2 years professionally in Japan. And then this is my first year, 2022, being a part of the Pride.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. When I get a little bit farther in the show and some of the things I picked out, because as I mentioned, I've got 4 pages of stats on these young ladies. I could spend hours on it, but we want to highlight a few things that I'm really impressed about and I want to share with the local community. So who do I have left? Jalen, I don't think I've talked to you yet. A little bit about your background. We do have a little something in common. I was born in Lexington, Virginia, not too far from JMU. So I refer to it as God's country. But tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in Hot Springs, Virginia, small little town. Went to James Madison University where I played for 4 years in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and then got drafted out of college to play for the Akron Racers. Played there for 2 years. and then got traded to the Pride. So I've been here for the last 5 years, 5 seasons.
Wow.
Also played a little bit in Australia and Japan as well. I've been playing in Japan for the past 6 years. So, but that's about it.
Awesome. That's great. So a little bit about your background. So a couple of questions, and I'm going to start with Hallie because you're, I think, the newest as far as playing professional. And again, hopefully some high school girls, might watch this later, or anybody that wants to play at the next level. How was that recruiting process for you, picking a college to go to? Listen, looking at your stats speak for themselves. So you all might have just had people just knocking on your door without having to work at it real hard as far as recruiting. Coach involved, parents involved. How did that process go for you?
Yeah, recruiting process, I would say I wasn't necessarily a highly touted, a lot of home runs or anything, but I really thrived in camp settings. Went to a lot of college camps when I was in high school and was able to get that coach there and kind of show off my fundamentals in that sense.
Good.
So that is what coaches to come watch me play in games. And yeah, I actually heard when I was in high school, and my senior year there was a coaching change and I got the new coach. So I ended up committing to Oregon. My travel ball coach played a big part in that because his daughter played at the University of Oregon.
Wow.
So he had a coach there. So I honestly got very lucky in my recruiting process, but camps is what helped me get that kind of exposure to where a team like Oregon would even get.
Sure, good. So Allie, let me ask you this. She brings up a really good question, and my daughter, both my kids played sports, and I heard, especially from my daughter, playing soccer and lacrosse, which, especially in this area, big leagues as far as soccer, is your league team, club team, almost as important or more important than your high school team as far as that recruiting process? Because, like she mentioned with the camps, my daughter went to a lacrosse camp up in Massachusetts for lacrosse. For you, were they both the same? Was one more than the other, having the opportunity to play in college?
Is that for me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, in softball, I would say travel ball is where you get recruited more, is what we call it. Or
Right.
Yeah. So college coaches come to those games a lot of the time. If you play at certain tournaments, there's like more college coaches at different ones. But I would say that's a big way to get recruited. Camps is a big way. But mine was through actually playing at a tournament, and an umpire saw me, and an umpire had connections. So, you never know. Like, you might think it's the college coach in the stands, but it could be like someone random that has a connection. So I feel like my story might have been unique, but you just never know who's watching. So
very cool. Awesome. And Jalen, what about you as far as in the beautiful hills of Virginia? What was your best process to get to college?
Mine was pretty similar, just playing in a good travel ball organization there at the time, or we didn't have a whole lot of big teams in Virginia. So I ended up playing for a team out of Williamsburg, which was 4.5 hours from home for us. So a lot of that was just doing stuff on my own, but just getting exposure, getting out there. And then, like, I wanted to play in Virginia. I knew that much, or close by. So
Right.
they were actually able to come out to a lot of our high school games as well to recruit and just show their interest. So kind of unique in that aspect.
Awesome. And Shelby, now you graduated about 8 or 9 years ago, so I don't know if it was a different process then as far as, or was travel ball still a big proponent in making that jump to the next level?
Yeah, travel ball. And being from New Mexico, softball is not really big there at all, so it's hard to get seen in that state. Our coach did a really good job of getting us into good tournaments, and he would actually double enter us into a tournament, so we were playing twice the amount of games. And
Wow.
you might get matched up with a team that all the college coaches are going to go watch that team. If you do something good, you're going to get seen because you're playing against a bat buster team out of California. And so that's really how I got seen, is just going to California. We had to go to Houston, but it was a lot of travel. My parents spent a lot of money, so.
Yeah, right.
But
I, you and Jalen bring up a good point. I know when my daughter went to college to play, I told my wife, even just playing soccer and traveling around the state, we saved a lot of money. But hearing you go from one state to another, Jalen going 4 hours to Williamsburg, I don't think people realize just how much parents too, put into helping their kids, get to that next level. Real quick, let me go back to Haley, and then we'll move on. So, social media. I try to stay in touch with a lot of sports, sites. Just again, I love athletics. Um, I see a lot of local high school girls that got their own Twitter account, and and even all kinds of players, football players. Did you get into that much as far as your stats and stuff on Twitter or social media at all?
That's something that has changed a lot in like recent years in regards to I was getting recruited. There was not social media wasn't really an avenue. If you directly emailed the college coaches, you could send them video footage, but now it's become a great tool for these kids to get their footage out there and to get their, like every college coach is out
Right.
there on social media somewhere, or at least they're trying to be, because that's how, the world is evolving right now. So I think it
Right.
is a very that some kids and maybe on some lesser known teams are able to get that
Right.
exposure.
Right. Allie, let me ask you a quick question. And this happened to my daughter. So you go on a college visit. She went to a few schools as far as to look to play lacrosse. I think we were in the car less than an hour, and all of a sudden these schools are joining her Facebook page or any other social media. I guess just to kind of find out more about the. Did you have any of that experience where when you visited a school they wanted to join your social media sites to learn more about who you really were?
Yeah, I think coaches want to do that. I think my coach is interested. They're trying to, when they're recruiting you, they're not just recruiting your softball skills. They're recruiting, what values do you have? What are you about? And so I think they kind of want to get that inside scoop, and they can
Good.
get to see that through social media, and
Right.
they're going to try to find out as much as they can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that my college coach followed me. She wanted to know what I was up to and stuff like that.
Good. Okay. And that's what she did too. So
Yeah.
Shelby, you've been playing 8 years. What, as far as growth of the sport or changes, what have you seen positives, maybe negatives, as far as your professional career and where professional softball, at least here in the United States, has actually gone?
My direction right now, we have the right people in place in my mind to kind of lead this up from here. I mean, when I first got into the pro league, the competition was great. 5 teams, maybe. I think 4 teams for sure. But it doesn't like we were just going to blow a team out. So I think getting back to having, if not more, would be huge, and just having that tough competition all around. And I think it's going to get there, hopefully quick.
Good. Good. I hope so too. So Jalen, I'll go back to you. Talked about even when you played travel ball, having to go 4 hours to where your team was. Um, and I don't know if a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, I'm still learning a lot about the professional softball league. What is travel like? Because I know your teams are all over the place. I mean, you're not just, you're, I think Akron, maybe out in. So what is travel like? Is it, I'm not sure if it's Lear jets or is it charter, but how do you get from, or are you just on your own? How does that work out for your team?
No, we fly Southwest most of the time. It allows us to check 2 of our bags, which is nice.
Yeah.
A lot of us carry,
Right.
bat bags and luggage. But in the past, we've used some charter buses with Akron. With Pride, it's really nice that we're able to use rental cars and have a little bit more freedom and ability to kind of go out on our own in the mornings or go work out or, go to Starbucks, Dunkin', whatever we need to do and get that done. prior to game time, or even go take extra BP or extra practice in the morning, and just letting us have that freedom. So it's been really nice, since it's very independent.
Good, good. Now, Haley, you're cross country, right? As far as where you played college. So I'm just curious, being a dad, both my kids are older. Um, Parents get to watch you play. Do they get to go online? Is there a way to, or do they come down here to beautiful Vieira, Florida? How is that connection still? Because I imagine they still want to watch you play.
Yeah, my parents have always been my biggest supporters. They made it to a lot of my. I haven't been able to make it to one of my pro games yet because it is such a long trip to do. But we do luckily have a streaming service
Good.
to watch all of our games up all season. So they are definitely my biggest fans.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, I see that. What time we got? 12:54. So, Allie, you're from the state of Washington. Same thing. Parents ever visit, or are they just kind of watching on live? Because that's a big trip to take to watch a softball game.
Yeah, they've been watching on the live stream and staying
Okay,
connected that way. Yeah.
good. That's good. So I know you all have a lot to do. A couple questions that I just wanted to ask you individual as I was reading. So Jalen, I believe you played in Japan, and I think Allie, did you play in Japan?
Yeah, a couple
Oh,
years ago.
all right. So Jalen, what's that experience like? How do you how is the professional softball league experience in Japan compared to over here in the United States?
It's just a completely different experience. It's the same. It's the same game. It's a little bit more. We have less games actually over a longer period of time. So the emphasis is really, each game you got to win, and you really got to focus on that. But we play on the weekends, so it's very strictly Saturday, Sunday, with a whole week of practice. So um, compared to here, where we're playing, every day, or it doesn't matter what day of the week we're playing, and we're just trying to get in front of fans. And but overall, just the interest in the game and the passion for the game is there, both here in the U.S. and as well as in Japan. So just a really cool experience, and really fun to see it on both sides of the world.
Very neat. So, Ali, let me ask you a question. Trying to wrap my head again around professional leagues, whether it's football, lacrosse, softball. What do you do during the off season? Do you stay in touch with softball? I've got my son-in-law. His best friend is a center fielder for the Rays. Just got traded. I know he was in the minor leagues for a little bit, so I know what that life is like. Um, do you work other jobs? Do you have to do anything for your livelihood? Do you go like you play other leagues? What do you do when your season's over?
Yeah, I think professional softball players, you have to do something because our season's only in the summer, so we supplement that. The other 9 months, we all find something else to do. And the past couple of years, I was in Japan, so I had that. And then I had the Olympics, so I was busy all year for that. So this year actually was my first year having 9 months of like, okay, I need to be doing something. And it was actually really tough, but I gave lessons. I helped coach or do some practices for youth teams, clinics and stuff like that. And then I also was helping a little bit at a college. So
Okay.
I kind of had my hands in a few different things, but I feel like a lot of the times us as athletes, since our season's in the summer, we go play overseas, or a lot of people coach, give lessons, things like that, because you want a job that's going to be able to give you that freedom in the summer. So definitely. And then also obviously training. So you're
Right.
having to keep up on your training.
Right. And congratulations, if I have it right, silver medalist in the 2020
Yes. Thank you.
Olympics. Yeah, that's awesome. That's I mean, hats off just to have that experience, let alone walk away with a medal, is just amazing. Shelby, let me get back to you. 2 times, if I read it right, Player of the Year in the Big 12. So I got to get your thoughts. I'm a Gator. What do you think about joining the SEC?
Um, I think it's going to make the SEC that much better.
Oh,
Uh,
oh man.
it's already SEC, so that'll be interesting what they do with that. I don't know how they're going to handle having that many teams, but I think it's going to be a good thing.
Wow, when you talk about Oklahoma, you talk about Texas, Florida, Alabama. I'm sure I'm leaving some teams off. I mean, there's probably, half the last 10, World
Yeah.
Series championships. Um, Not playing Oklahoma State every year. What do you think about? I know that's your big rivalry. I mean, if you were still playing, would that be something you would miss?
Uh, uh,
Maybe not.
Not really. No, I think Texas is a bigger rivalry
Okay, all right. So
than
they'll
Oklahoma State for sure.
they'll still be there. Haley, real quick, I think I read you led only person to lead Oregon 4 years in a row in hitting. I think nobody's done it more than 2 years. Um, Being the newest, I think, in the professional out of the four of y'all, once you got drafted and played your first year, did you have anybody you reached out for guidance? Somebody that maybe you knew that had already been playing, maybe from Oregon, or somebody on the Pride? Being new, being a rookie, who did you look to as far as maybe some mentorship or guidance?
Yeah, I mean, playing on the Pride did by mentors. I know, like players like the three we have here. You can from the players who have been playing for longer than you have, and I
Right.
think that cool experience because in college you get to a certain point where you think you might be at your peak, but at the realize that there's always so much to learn and that you're always growing. So
Right.
I think so many players who have done what you've done and
Right.
even more and beyond. I think.
Jayla, let me ask you a couple quick questions. First, I know when my daughter, she just played 1 year of varsity lacrosse. It was a new sport here in Brevard County. Played her junior year when the sport first started, tore her ACL middle of her 12th grade, was blessed like many of you, went to a camp, got noticed, etc. First thing she told me when she played in her first college game was the speed of the game, especially playing against girls that have been playing for years. Did you notice a big change? I mean, you all are excellent in what you do. Did you notice something big, your first like aha moment when you went from high school to college?
Is this for me?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Quite a bit actually, especially coming from such a small town. We didn't always have the greatest of talent.
Right.
We competed and we were good, but once you reach that college level, you start to realize how much better everyone is, and how you can all kind of come together as a team and really excel and push each other to be better. You're getting every high school's best player pretty much on one
Right.
team. Similar to going to professional, now you're getting every professional team has every college player's best player. So it really just kind of elevates your level and elevates your competition and pushes you to be better, which was really cool to see. And for me, I like to be pushed too. So getting in bullpens with Megan Good or Heather Kiefer, some of the pitchers we had on staff was just like a good opportunity for me and to push myself.
Awesome. So I'm going to wrap it up in a few minutes. And I think I mentioned a good friend of mine, Ryan Langley, teaches right here at Johnson Middle School, athletic director. His daughter, Sarah Langley, plays catcher for Eau Gallie. Actually, I'm going to give a little shout out to her. She was picked one of only 100 young ladies in the country that was invited to the Los Angeles Dodgers. She played baseball. And, there is a little bit of a baseball league for women, not real big. So I reached out to him and said, hey, tell your daughter to send me a couple questions. I want to see what a high school student might want to ask. So Shelby, let me find so I'm going to start with you. One of her questions was, how often do you work out when you're not in season, when the team's not practicing? What things do you do that she should be doing during the off season to kind of not only stay in physical shape, but stay in softball shape?
Yeah, I think the weight room, staying in good conditioning shape as well. So running, both lifting and running, and arm care is a big thing in the off season program. Maybe band work, keeping your shoulders strong, because when you're throwing, everything strong itself in a sense, but when you take time off and you come back and you throw, you're at like a big risk. So I think those are some pretty important things that I do. And like softball for a little bit, but I start getting back in softball shape, so taking probably about 2 months before, 2 to 3 months before the summer, because I do after how many games we play in a season.
Right. Great. Allie, one of her questions was, and you talked a little bit, we talked about social media, that they look at that also. What do you think some of the things are that college or pro coaches, let's say college, when you were playing at high school, they looking at stats, they looking at, I know a lot of times I tell kids, I used to coach a little lacrosse at my daughter's high school. They look at what you're doing when you're not in the play to see if you're ready. What do you think they look at as far as a high school player looking for somebody that they want to have on their college team?
Well, I think they're looking for like tools that you have that might stand out that they might be looking for. So whether that's like she has a lot of power, she has a strong arm.
Right.
So looking for those tools that like stand out. I think college coaches want players that can compete, because I think it can, like we talked about, become more of like mental challenge as you go on
Right.
and grow up in the game. And so I think
Right.
if you compete and you can do that, you're gonna have success at the next level. And then I think college coaches just want good people who are gonna be good teammates, people that are gonna buy into the process once they get there. And so I would say all around those few
Good.
things.
Good. So Jalen, here's a real big question. What kind of foods do you eat when you're practicing or before a game? I'm thinking chocolate chip cookies, brownies probably aren't in that mix. How do you stay fit as far as nutrition wise during the season?
I think it just depends on the player, honestly. You can talk to probably 20 different people and they're going to give you 20 different responses. I just kind of eat what I want, like whatever I'm feeling on the day. I do try to eat a little bit healthier at times, just like whole foods or,
Right.
a protein, a veggie. Sometimes with the season in the summer, it's a little bit difficult to get that
Yeah.
in, especially with late games and
Right.
finishing at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30. So your options are limited. But no, just cookies and brownies are always welcome too. Cake. I got a little bit of a sweet tooth, so
I get it. I'm
just stuff to fuel your body.
good. I'm there with you. And last question, Haley, that she had, and this is a great question. Um, so, high school and college, how did you manage your time between a full course load? I imagine, my son played a year of football before he went into the Air Force, conditioning in the morning, going to school, practice after school. What advice could you give a young lady that's in high school? How did you set your priorities?
Yeah, I think it's just understanding that you are going to some things depending on your goals. Like for me, I wasn't able to go to because I had softball on the weekends, and I
Right.
knew that to prepare for that, I needed to get my school. And I think even if you don't necessarily have any homework that day, you can always set aside and get ahead and study
Right.
and really manage your time wisely. Make sure that your priorities are in order.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So to wrap it up real quick, Shelby, I want to go back to you. Tell the audience you got a couple games left tonight, tomorrow. When are your games so that hopefully we get some people out there to watch you play your last few games?
7:30, right?
It-
Or is it 7:30 tonight, 7:30 tomorrow night, and 30 on Saturday night as well.
Okay, and then the season's over after that until next March? When do you kind of pick it up in the next year?
Usually beginning of June.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Because I just want to make sure I get that out there, and as far as anybody watched. So again, I just want to thank. We have Haley Cruz, Shelby Penley, Jalen Ford, and Allie Aguilar. And again, Penny Four is listening. I want to say thank you to her, Director of Operations. Thank you to Courtney Sayo, Director of Brand Management and Business Strategy, for just giving me the opportunity to meet you all again between. ERA, I think Jalen oversees 2 years in a row with the lowest ERA, 4 years, batting champion at Oregon. Oklahoma Sooners, second pick in the draft behind one of her teammates, and then Allie with a silver medal. Blessed to have been able to spend some time with you. I appreciate your time today and just filling in a little bit about what life is as far as playing professional softball and maybe some things that the other young ladies that are either at high school, travel ball can learn as well. So again, thanks for watching Press Box Overtime. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. Good luck tonight and the rest of your season. And I look forward to keeping up with how you're doing.
For having us.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. All righty. So again, that was 4 excellent young ladies that play for the USSSA Pride right here in Vieira. Again, when you look at their stats, it's amazing. I've got 4 sheets printed out. Olympic silver medalist, batting champion from Oregon, lowest ERA in the Japanese league 2 years in a row. Second pick in the draft several years ago when Shelby first joined professional, and I could just go on and on. So again, thank you to Courtney Sayo for helping me set this up. Penny Four, sorry I didn't get to see you, but I think you were listening. Thank you, the Director of Operations, for letting these young ladies spend a little bit of time with me. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, don't forget they got a couple games tonight, I believe tomorrow and Saturday. So go out right here in Vieira, Florida, 7:30 first pitch to watch our very own professional softball team, USSSA Pride. Great entertainment, phenomenal athletes. I hope you take a chance and go see them. Hey, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bill Maheras from Press Box Overtime. We'll see you again.